Well, the first thing I wanted to do was play the role. I thought the role was really interesting. It would give me a lot of challenges, and I'd be able to do something different than what I'd done, and it was just really exciting. And once I did that, they said, "Well, why don't you direct it as well?" And I looked at it with at first with a kind of a bit of a jaundiced eye, you know. Um, I didn't want to get caught into just being Boston guy, only doing movies in Boston. Next movie they go, "Hey, here's a Boston script. Why don't you try it?" I wanted to tell all kinds of stories. But when I looked deeper at this, I saw that there were a lot of really exciting elements. I saw that there was a love story, that there was a character-driven drama, and also a very unique, an interesting classic bank heist story set in a special kind of place that people hadn't seen before. So the book really inspired me in a lot of different ways. Where you grow up informs you. In fact, that's part of what the movie's about, how we are shaped largely by our environment. And when we want to change that and resist that and remodify ourselves from the way that we've been brought up, it's very, very difficult, you know, and this guy's trying to change and he has a hard time, this movie. You know, I mean, there are things that I relate to in the character, in every character. There's things I relate to in every facet of the movie. If you're going to direct something, I think you just bring all of yourself and all of your ideas and all of your sensibilities to it. So there's a lot about Doug that, naturally I relate to, and there's a lot that, but there's a lot that I had to sort of try to imagine and bring to it as well. I think you can judge yourself as a director by who you steal from. Heat was a big model for this movie, and by the same token, it loomed so large that I want to try to not just repeat it. I mean, you know, you look at some of the execution in that movie; it's magnificent. To me, also, this movie is about, you know, I borrowed from Gomorrah and Amoris Peros and Rafifi and The Bank Job and Friends of Eddie Coyle, and these were the movies that I thought had a humanity and an interesting character aspect as well as people opening bank doors with guns. Yeah, the camera's always kind of at eye level. It's always moving almost as a person. The idea was to put the audience into the shoes of the robber and sometimes of the victims of these things. And if you get the camera doing something too elaborate or too sort of out in the abstract and in the subjective or in the objective, I think you start to lose a feeling of immediacy and lose an attachment to the characters, and maybe even a sense of realism dissipates with that sort of distant camera. You know, in a way, I hope people don't feel the references. I think it's, unless you're a film school student or maybe another director and you can't help it, you know, you want audiences to just get immersed in it. Maybe later on they'll kind of go, oh yeah, that was a bit like this. But my hope is that all of those things are submerged below the surface.